G'day folks, my name is Rob and welcome back for another F1 Fantasy Deadline stream. I hope all of you are having another fantastic Saturday. It's going to be, a fun couple hours. Good to see a few of you in the chat, just checking everything's working. I'm fully expecting there will be more technical difficulties throughout the stream. But notwithstanding that, I think it's going to be a good couple hours. And there's already plenty of you in the chat. We love to see that. How about that energy from you guys? Because you'll get plenty of it from me. I'm battling a virus, but I'm here. I'm ready to go and ready for the pain. But yeah, EF's in the chat. Alan, Simon, Brian, all great to have you here. Regulars, as always. Axis42 is back again. Definitely recognize a few of these names. Gamer Procs, Micah, Blake, Dan, Rosa, great to have you all here. It's going to be a fun couple hours dissecting everything from practice, kind of what to expect for the next couple of weeks with Baku up next. I'm just going to fire off the tweet to let people know I am live. It's going to be a fun couple hours. Ali, great to have you back as always. Ether, Ben, welcome from Washington DC, my friend. I'm just a couple hours north in New York, so always good to have a fellow East Coaster. Thank you for the positive thoughts. Feeling a little better this morning, still not 100%, but wanted to rally, wanted to show face, wanted to help you guys, wanted to help myself because It was an interesting practice yesterday. I think today, or FP3 has given us slightly more insight into how true that Ferrari pace is, where Williams might be, and kind of where everyone else isn't. So yeah, we got a couple fun hours. I won't say this too much on the stream. I won't bore you to death with classic YouTuber requests. But if you're new around here, you're enjoying the content, please drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're watching and you haven't yet done so. Also crossed 10k followers on Twitter, on X, earlier this morning. So a nice little milestone. Hoping to get to that mark on this channel soon. I don't know if we'll get there by the end of the year because engagement tends to drop off in the second half of the season. But regardless, it's a nice little milestone to cross. So thank you for all of you that have engaged on Twitter or on YouTube so far. I think there's plenty more in store, plenty more to look forward to. So we'll get through a couple quick questions. I always want to make sure I cover as much as possible, but there's a lot to get through and I'm only 3 minutes into the stream. Then we'll take a look at free practice, the fantasy tool sims, my team, and then cover off anything else as it comes through in the chat. So EF, first question, first cab off the rank asked, based on practice results, what would your Limitless team be this weekend? I think it's really hard to go past triple McLaren, triple Ferrari right now. I think there's enough to see from the Papaya Boys. Leclerc is doing his part. I'm just having a tea. I don't usually drink hot drinks, but got to suppress the throat so I can be vocal and meaningful to contribute to the chat. So yeah, triple McLaren, triple Ferrari. The third one, I think Max, probably for me. You could take a punt on George Russell, maybe Alex Albon if you really want to be different. But I think right now it's triple McLaren, triple Ferrari, and Max. If I went Limitless this week. If you're not so sure about it, then I think Singapore could be an option too. 2 transfers, you're not wrong, Alan. It's taunting for sure. A lot of us on the Aston Martin build, as you can see on screen here, it's a tricky one to navigate. I want to use my wildcard. I'm so tempted to pull the trigger, but I just think there's going to be more value saving it further down the line. If I really wanted to go aggressive, I could go like a triple or double Williams, Hajar, Alonso, but I'm not sure yet today if it's worth it. So we will see. Debating if Hajar for Lawson is worth the -10. I think it more depends on how good you think Hajar can be, because he looked really good in practice again. I think he's easily a Q3 lock for me this week. So I don't know. I ordinarily wouldn't swear by the idea of going -10 to midfield drivers, but if you think Hajar can be on for another top 5, another driver of the day, then I don't see why not, right? Sauber does look stable, I agree, Simon. And I think kind of Alan echoed that. Like it's -10's a bit nuanced for midfield drivers. I think Axi's swapping Aston for Williams and Stroll for Albon sounds like a perfectly good approach this week. And I think a lot of people... I think FP3's probably given us a lot more certainty over that second constructor slot. Don't get me wrong. I think Williams, if you want to play the upside, you want to go for like a Piastri. I know Ewan was talking about this, who's streaming right now. He was talking about this in his final thoughts video yesterday, but if you wanted to go like a Piastri, Leclerc, McLaren, Williams, I think that's certainly an option. You need a lot to go right for that to really work. But I think Ferrari has probably a higher floor. There's that qualifying teamwork certainty. I know they're a little off pit stops lately, but there's that as well as a fallback. I just think there's more certainty from Ferrari. I think if Williams get it right, both drivers could easily be top 6, top 7 this week. So I think there's arguments to both, but the Ferrari security of points is probably what compels me to go that direction more so right now. I think if you've got an Axis has got a budget of around 111, I still think you can get to Piastri, McLaren, Ferrari. It just means having to downgrade a lot of these midfield drivers from like Alonso, Stroll to like a Lawson, maybe a Colapinto, a Sainz. I was a little late, wasn't it? Should I use Wildcard, switch to a double McLaren, triple Williams, Hajar setup? Triple Williams. You know, it seems ironic that I'm saying this because I think Williams, again, will be good. I feel like it's maybe a little too much overexposure, which is... I think we got lucky that Stroll had a good race last week, because if it wasn't for him coming from the back and racking up a bunch of those overtakes and positions gained, Aston Martin wouldn't have done nearly as well as they probably should have. He also binned it in qualifying, and got that -5, which a lot of people forgot about when he put in 20 plus points. I think Triple Williams could be risky a little bit, but I don't know if there's really much substance to that argument, given a lot of us went triple Aston Martin last week. I think it's fine. If you want to, again, go like triple McLaren or double McLaren in your case axes, I think that's certainly okay. I'm not going to fault anyone for going triple Williams if they want to look good. If they want to go that route because they look good. I saw that about Kenneth called out the Stewart investigation for Hajar. Just keep an eye on that. I'll have to keep the tweets going as well. My internet's this is not a good sign. My internet is already going real slow right now. So I'm a bit worried about this stream. I'm a little worried about this stream. It dropped for like... I've looked again at the OBS software. I've like updated it to the latest version. I don't know what more I can do. So if it drops, there's plenty of other great streamers to watch on Saturday morning. What can I say? All right. What else is in the chat? Just to follow up on your Limitless team, would it be worth a risk of dropping a Ferrari asset and having Max and George? Yeah, drop Hamilton, I guess. That 5-place grid penalty, yes, there's overtakes, yes, there's positions to gain, but if Hamilton is like it qualifies 6th or 7th, 11th is kind of like no man's land. You almost want like a 10 place, or you don't want a grid penalty. 5, you might get a few extra points, but you're not seeing the same upside as if you were starting like much further down the order. So yeah, Verstappen, Russell, fine. Claudio, great to have you here. Same team as you, except Noel Lawson. 131 wildcard available. If I had 131 in budget and a wildcard, I would be going Oscar Piastri, McLaren, Leclerc, Ferrari, and whatever you can fill your team with. I just feel like Leclerc looks very strong. It seems silly to go against him if you can afford that kind of 4A with Leclerc. So envious of anyone that can. And Ferrari had the best pit stop last Sunday, so I stand corrected. They've They're bouncing back. Put it that way. Oliver has Piastri, Russell, Bortoletto, Lawson, Sainz with McLaren, Ferrari, and 0.8 left over. Oh no, lost the mark in the chat. Don't know if I should stick with Russell or buy Hajar, or if I should just switch Russell to Leclerc, then Sainz to Lawson. I would hold Sainz. If you've got Sainz, hold. I suppose you have to downgrade, don't you, Oliver, to get to Leclerc? Piastri, Russell, Bortoletto, Lawson, Sainz, McLaren, Ferrari. I mean, I'm fine with sticking with that, to be honest. 0.8 left over. I would feel more inclined, Oliver, of sticking with that and then upgrading Bortoletto or Lawson to Hajar. Just a thought. Would you have Mercedes a second constructor? Probably not. Is it worth to bring a -10 to bring in Hajar? Answered that before. I'd say probably not. Just unless you think, again, he's top 5 material. What about no negative? Not this weekend. Very low DNF rate. I think a lot of the rookies seem okay so far, so I wouldn't be... Yeah, I wouldn't be jumping it. I don't think it's a huge chip weekend, to be honest. Hey, Eric, thank you for coming through. Bortoletto and Albon with new engines. Yeah, Albon, exactly. New engine. Why are people going with Ferrari when Ham has that penalty? Because I think it's more you're playing the upside of Leclerc than the downside of the penalty. And like I said, you're not... I don't think you're losing out a great deal with Hamilton taking a 5 place. He'll probably pass a couple of those midfielders that qualify between 7th and 12th. Or wherever Lewis ends up. But, yeah. I don't think it's too much of a concern, to be honest. Like, if he qualifies 10th and then... Sorry, if he qualifies, like, 2nd and drops to 7th, like, I think Lewis finishes around 7th, 6th, 7th. You are the streamer. Thank you, Scott. Too kind. Before I forget, I don't know if there are many of you in New York watching this, but that's where I live. I will be watching the Grand Prix tomorrow at Failer in Midtown. If you're a Formula One fan, you've been to that bar, you know all about it. Drop by, say hi. I'm watching the race with the runner-up in the Global League last year, Porsche F1 on Twitter. So do stop by and say hi if you're around, you're keen to watch some Formula One. What do you think about Piastri, Bortoletto, Alonso, Lawson, Hajar, McLaren, Ferrari? Yeah, Dennis, I think that sounds great. I always wonder how you can go 2 hours without eating, because I eat before Cobbo. Yeah, I cram a lot in before the stream, put it that way. Go to the bathroom, I get changed. Well, I hope I get changed. You don't want me seeing me with no clothes on stream. Yeah, I eat a lot before, just because I do get hungry. I'm a big boy. I have a big appetite, so I kind of need to fuel up for the stream. I have the same team as you, 2 transfers, but 131. Yash, do you have a wild card? Because if you do, I would be going the double Ferrari, double McLaren. Otherwise, with 2 transfers, could you do like a Williams Albon or a Ferrari upgrade Bortoletto? I don't know. It's a tricky one this week because a lot of people will have leftover budget with the whole Williams thing. William, thank you for dropping through as always, my friend. Always appreciate you on here. Simon's asking if I'd pick Albon over Hajar. I mean, you can see at the bottom here, middle bottom of the screen, Albon and Hajar is kind of the toss-up. Let's see what that penalty for impeding comes up with. It's probably a nothing burger, but I am monitoring Chris Medland, who's quite up to speed on developments with the stewards and such. I don't see anything yet on Hajar, but if anyone sees any updates, let me know in the chat. Okay, where are we? I'm gonna like push through a couple of questions quickly. Drop a like, guys, if you're enjoying the content so far. Then we'll look at free practice in the sims. Red Across is going Ferrari and Sainz or Williams Leclerc. Ferrari Sainz for me. Take Leclerc or Ferrari. 4A, not possible rest. I'd take Ferrari instead of Leclerc because you're 2x. Like most people are going to 2x Piastri anyway. In that case, Sino. McLaren, Ferrari, Piastri, Hulk, Lawson, Hajar, Alonso with 120.5. In your case, Z, I would probably go, depending on how much budget you have left over, like a Lawson like a Lawson to a Sainz or a Hulk to a Sainz, play the Williams upside if you can get a piece of one of those drivers. Otherwise, I think the team looks fine. What do you think of Tottenham signing Xavi Simon and Colin Mwani? I think they're great signings. More importantly, Levy out. How good. Made my day the other day when I saw that news. I think they're good signings. Spurs have not necessarily been the most, let's call it, active in transfer windows prior. So nice to see them making some signings. Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate the stream love. SS, McLaren, Ferrari, Piastri, Alonso, Stroll, Bortoleto, Hajar. I think that looks good. Piastri, Albon, Hajar, Bortoleto, Alonso, McLaren, Ferrari, but taking the -10. Look, I don't think there's anything wrong with a -10 this weekend. Personally, I feel as though some people are forced into it with Aston Martin. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think there's... Let's put it this way. If you've got a wild card, I wouldn't be taking a -10. I'd just pull the ripcord on the wild card. And if you haven't got a wild card, then I'm not against the idea of a -10, but I think it depends on who the transfers are you're making, of course. Look at the sims. Like, the F1 Fantasy Tool sims are the best in the game when it comes to points projections. You just plug in, like, if you don't have the subscription, and if you to their premium features, and if you do want them, Hub 50 for 50% off. Details are in the description below. But you can, if you're not sure about transfers, just plug them into the team calculator, either as a manual entry or your team's 1 to 3. Like, because I'm subscribed, I have mine automatically plugged in, and that can give you some transfer guidance as well. I think it helps me at least guide me towards preferred lineups, even if they're not necessarily the right, even if necessarily they're not ones I've thought about before. Michael, my friend, thank you for coming through. Can we discuss Piastri versus Norris? If I can only take one, if you go triple McLaren, who gets a 2x? Great question. So I think Norris for me feels like the better of the two so far this weekend. Probably a good time to bring up practice. He's been kind of top of the chart. I mean, FP1 I wouldn't really read into too much. FP2, if my memory serves me, he was top again. Yep. And Charles second again. Yep. Piastri's not far off it. Like, just under 2/10 yesterday. I think he was almost similar to today. Yeah. So I'm not too concerned. Like, Norris might outscore Piastri this weekend, and Norris needs a bounce back drive after last week. But I mean, at Piastri's price, at his consistency, his reliability, I am perfectly okay to back Oscar, even if it is kind of a 5 to 7 point gap in the projections, in the simulations. They're identical points wise. So I'm not too bothered about Oscar Piastri, to be honest, even if he's maybe not got the same ceiling as Norris. But yeah, I think you kind of have to sacrifice Norris if you want Ferrari. Put it that way. We are a bit of a bind at the moment. Norris, Piastri, Alonso, Lawson, Bortoleto, McLaren, Aston Martin. I think I might hold Lawson, swap out Norris for Albon. Does that make sense to do? Absolutely, Scott. Absolutely. I have triple McLaren, Bortoleto, Sainz, Alonso, and Aston Martin. Do I have to make any changes? Alan, you don't have to make changes if you don't want to. Don't let anyone tell you have to make changes. However, I would think about maybe Ferrari. Similar lineup to what I have, right? I'd probably consider the Norris out. Norris out and Aston Martin out and Ferrari in, and whoever you can afford. Maybe like Albon if you can get to that. Muslim's asking about Limitless today. I said triple McLaren, triple Ferrari, and perhaps Max. I don't know. I wouldn't be bringing in Max if you're not on Limitless, because Zach's asked that. And I just think it's a transfer back out at some point. Max is good, don't get me wrong. He's got a great record around here over the last 3 years. But do I see Max winning the race? No. Do I see Max on the podium? Maybe, but a few things have to go right. So in reality, I just don't know if it's a transfer I'd be making this week. Miguel, my friend, back again. Appreciate you as always. Leaning towards a -10 to save the wildcard. Not sure 10 for which driver yet, but trying to convince myself it's fine. Yeah, I mean, look, I've grappled with that too. I think a -10 is fine. I just think I'm not going to be taking -10s much between now and the end of the year. So the concern I have is if I'm going to take a -10, I may as well just use the wild card. I don't think there'll be many times I take -20, but I do want to save the wild card for when that 4A shift does occur. And realistically, that could be a weekend where I take a -20 or a -30. But I could also get to that in, 2-3 moves over multiple weekends. So yeah, I don't know. It depends, Miguel. I guess it depends on the transfers you're making, but probably not. Would I wildcard with my team? I don't think I need to, personally. Look, I could. My first move. We'll talk about teams. We'll talk about my team. Like this is the most logical move for my team, I think, this week. In 2 swaps, I can do this. I'm not ecstatic about carrying 2 Aston Martin assets. And I'm thinking I could do thinking Stroll or Bortoletto out. Like if I pulled the wild card this week, I would be doing this. I'd carry 5.5. But if I was activating my wild card, this is what my team would look like. I'm almost certain about that. Bortoletto will be a transfer out next week as well. So just because his score from Hungary will fall off his rolling average. Alonso or Albon this week. Albon. 3x chip with Piastri Leclerc. Probably not if it's not a sprint, Blake, unfortunately. I hope you had a good birthday. Thank you, Kev. Thank you. Where are you in the world rankings at the moment? Are you like top 50 or something? I feel like last week you were in like the 40s when you replied to my post. So fingers crossed, another big weekend for you. How does Mercedes look this weekend? Not great. Not great compared. Not to Ferrari. I think there's just more upside with Ferrari. And keep in mind, Bortoletto as well had a toe, I believe, from Hulkenberg. So his lap time in practice 3 is a little overstated. Both times I went with Norris was a fantasy disaster. Ali, you and me both. I had Norris on the 2X in Canada and again last week. Like, find me someone. I don't want to make this a pity party about me because it's absolutely not. But I have to be, honestly, one of the most unlucky F1 fantasy managers. I swear I just have so much bad luck at times when I feel as though my decision making, I honestly thought was sound, and it backfired yet again. So, yeah, the fact I'm only 7,000, it's not, yeah. 7,000, it could be a lot worse, but it could certainly be a lot better. If I had Piastri in Canada and last week as my 2X, I'd like to think I'd be like around 3,000 or 4,000. Anyway. Techers is going limitless. Love that. McLaren times 2. Max and Charles Leclerc, obvious. Russell Hamilton is the 5th. Nah, it's tricky. I don't think there's much in it, to be honest. Excuse me. Piastri is a grower, not a shower. I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I didn't say it. You said it. I didn't say it. I've talked about Limitless already. Rewind 5 minutes on my suggested lineup. What else have we got? Ali went from 1st to 3rd in her personal league. Need to maximize points. Hence, I also agree. Avoid -10s. Yeah. Got your team at 132. Would you take a -20 for McLaren Ferrari? No wildcard, I'm assuming, Paolo. That does look tempting for a -20. Put it this way. As I've said before, I'll just flash this up as well. Baku and Monza are going to be very similar in track tendencies and car performance, I think. Any car that's good at Monza should be good at Baku. So I do think if you're taking a -20, Paolo, in your case, for that kind of lineup, the Piastri, Leclerc, McLaren, Ferrari, I fully expect that lineup will carry through into next week as well. I just think Williams will be competitive. Ferrari and McLaren will be strong. Mercedes and Aston Martin probably not so much. Hajar, I mean, enough said about him. He's great. So yeah. I think Nicholas just asked the same question, minus 20. But that's for Russell. I don't know if I'd do it for Russell, Nicholas. I'd be considering it for Leclerc, though. Very funny that Norris has been brought into many teams. He DNFs and backs out the next week. Second time this year, I know. Although, to be fair, Michael, I carried Norris through in Austria as well. I carried him for 2 weeks. This week, I've only carried him for 1. So it's a bit frustrating because, I mean, I don't think it's poor planning because I intentionally made the moves last week for the Aston Martin upside, which didn't quite pay off, subdued a little bit because of Norris's DNF. However, I will say it wasn't a trade or a transfer I made that was not really thought out. I fully expected I'd be taking the wildcard this week because of the triple up on McLaren, and I still feel like I can get to a decent team without needing to pull the ripcord on that. I just think for me, saving the wildcard is going to be more valuable in like 2 to 3 races time once my value can get to the 4A comfortably. But we will see. Alonso or Albon, I think I answered that before. It should be Albon for me this week. It says you need to subscribe, Axis. Interesting. I think there's a way to do it manually, but if not, discount code in the description below. 50 likes, 314 viewers in the chat. We're up to 1,000 so far, 330 minutes. So pretty good start to my Saturday, I'll be honest. So yeah, drop a like if you're enjoying the content. Nothing quite like a 314 viewer start. It's going well, I think, so far. Hopefully I've got to most of your questions. I know I've missed a couple, so apologies, but I'm trying to get to as many as possible. Yeah, Claudio, you're right there with me. Lando twice, Canada and last week. The pain, my friend. Hear me out. 2 transfers to get to Piastri, Leclerc, Alonso, Bortoletto, Lawson, McLaren, Mercedes. McLaren, Mercedes. Oh, and I missed something. Someone mentioned something about Ferrari and the ride height. I saw that and I didn't respond to it because I thought that was a really interesting point. Trevor, I don't know what your girlfriend says to you when she loses to you after a race, but anyway. Someone mentioned the ride height about Ferrari before. I was like, that's an interesting point because it was on our minds a few weeks ago before summer break. I think they corrected it a little bit, which is why they look quite slow in free practice in the Netherlands. I'm hoping it's not a problem. Although Leclerc did the entire race last year in Monza on 2 sets of tires, whereas Piastri did 3. So hopefully, was audio alright? I don't know. I think it's alright. Hopefully Ferrari are okay. Would you no Limitless take a -10 to move Hajar in for Bortoletto or Lawson? Which one? I wouldn't be taking -10 to midfield drivers. Yeah, I wouldn't be taking -10. I think Carla's asking the same question. I just don't know. Put it this way, yeah, if you need Hajar to score like 20 points, 17 to 20 points, and whoever you're taking out to score like less than 6 or 7 to make it worthwhile. Maybe it is. Maybe it pays itself off over multiple weeks and you're not necessarily fixated on just what that driver scores in a single week. If you think you'll own Hajar, which most people probably will for a couple of weeks, then nothing wrong with taking a -10. I'm not going to fault people for that. Thoughts on Sainz? Love him. He's had a pretty terrible season this year. Highest score of 13 in Canada. I think it's a cleaner view on F1 Fantasy Tools. Audio sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit. I hope it's alright. The audio seems tracking fine. There was, 13 points. That Sainz is high. I think he's got a real shot at doing well this weekend. I think he's fine. How's this for a trend? You guys, if you follow me on Twitter, you might have seen this. I want to flash this up if my computer loads, which, again, the internet is slow because OBS is literally working overtime for this stream. Here we go. All right, I'm going to bring this onto the other screen. Pop this right here. So, let me show you this. I talked about this before with the whole Baku Monza thing. Actually, I should probably open this one up. I really like this theme. So, The original tweet says, teams that are strong in Monza will be strong in Baku, both high-powered tracks with long straights. If we look at the theme, McLaren, Ferrari were very good at both last year. Red Bull, Ferrari, very good 2023. Red Bull, Mercedes, both very good 2022. The general consensus I get from free practice is that McLaren, Ferrari are going to be good this week. So I'm very much thinking this should translate to Baku next week. So maybe these -10s that we're talking about to enable the Ferrari, etc., probably isn't the worst idea. Just some food for thought. Pause the video. I'm going to flick this back off. But if you wanted to, or rewind the video if you wanted to see that snap. But I think there's arguments in favor of -10s this week if you don't have a wild card. 300 viewers. Wow. Excuse me. Sorry. Fighting off this cough still. I'm not even a tea drinker, but this peppermint is going down like a treat. I'm not a coffee drinker either. I'm just weird. All right. What else have we got in the chat? Norris or Piastri for the double points? If you got both, Norris. I'm always going to play the differential on Norris. Maybe the unpopular opinion, but actually, I think it was Rain made a very good point in his video around Norris ownership creeping up so much in the Netherlands that in fact Piastri and Norris were evenly owned on the 2X or close to that. So I fully expect a regression back to the norm. If that's even, I'm not really a regression back to the mean, back to the Piastri 2Xs. And I think realistically that could be where a lot of people end up this week. So I think Piastri. Sainz or Hajar this weekend? I want to say Hajar because I think he's got the budget upside. He's got the raw single lap pace. Sainz is good too. I just think he has a bigger lift ahead of him to do well this week as a fantasy asset. All right. What else have we got? This is my first season in F1 Fantasy. I've learnt a lot from you. Thank you very much. 128 million budget. Is it weird to go for budget building for the next 3 races to target the last 6 as 3 a sprint? Nabadeep. Sorry if I mispronounced that. 100%. That's so fine with that approach. I'm 128 as well. So realistically, target budget building. That's kind of my approach this week. I'm going to refresh because this is not my team. That would be my wildcard team. You just saw on screen there. This is my team on screen. I want to throw up at that. There's so much green. Seeing green, it ain't money. But I do think there's a few problems to fix with 2 transfers. I'd love to get Stroll out, but won't happen this week. Probably be a Baku problem. Sorry again. I get the Sainz anxiety be so inexpensive right now versus skill. He's been unlucky. He has. Ben, I 100% agree. Sainz is so underpriced right now at 5.7? I think him and Hajar are the same price, no? Yeah. I think Sainz is bargain bin basement price. Same with Hajar. I think they're 2 extremely underpriced assets right now. So if you can own both of them this weekend, I'm very jealous. But I'm probably picking Hajar between the 2. I can do what you have up now, but I need to wildcard. Me too, G. Tyson, but I won't be wildcarding this week, and so I can't get to what I had on screen, even though I really liked it. How do you feel about Limitless this week? Spoke about it before, triple McLaren, triple Ferrari, and probably a Max or Russell. I don't know. I don't know if I love it. I'm not. It's probably one of the last 2 opportunities. Singapore, the other for me. You could also do it in Austin if you don't want to use the 3X there, but I think that's a 3X weekend. People who don't consume caffeine are built different. Maybe I am built different and I just don't know it. Giuseppe doesn't have enough budget to get both McLaren and Ferrari. What would you do? I'd definitely go McLaren. And I'd probably go, if you can't get to Ferrari, Mercedes. I mean, I don't... See, the problem with Mercedes is that on the sims, they're like almost on par with Williams. And this is FP2. I think there's an FP3 sim on the way in the next next hour. The sims here for Williams and Mercedes don't split them by much. Actually, someone, again, I keep reading things and forgetting to respond to every question. And apologies if I've missed yours in the chat. So plug it again. Maybe don't spam the chat, but if I've missed your question and you want it answered, please let me know in the stream. Someone asked about Red Bull. Now, I don't think I've paid much attention to Red Bull. Max for sure, but again, where is Yuki? He's kind of nowhere again. I don't know. I don't know if I buy the hype. Like, Yuki is, like, his best result has been 9th in this practice in Monza. So I'm personally not sure Yuki is enough. Like, if we go to the stats, like, what's his qualifying record? It's not good. It's really not good. I just don't think I buy the Red Bull. I just don't think it's for me, sorry. He's had one Q3 appearance since Saudi Arabia. That was the race he crashed with Gasly on the first lap. Like, that's not good. I'm sorry. Like, Red Bull's, I just don't think there's enough in it for me to choose Red Bull this week, unfortunately. Felix is thinking of going back to Ferrari. I think so too, mate. I think so too. Like, Ferrari are too obvious to me. Glad there's some love for the peppermint tea in the chat. Speaking of, let's do a poll, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do a poll. Albon versus Hajar. I'm split on those two, to be honest. I would probably go Albon right now. Second constructor choice. I want to see where the coin lands for your second constructor. Ferrari, Williams, Mercedes, other. Let me just mute myself while I cough up a lung. I really hope that muted it, because if it didn't, you guys got an absolute earful of whatever just came up from me. And I'm out of peppermint tea. Oh well, guess it's water for the rest of the stream. Hopefully this... Oh no, has the stream stopped again? It seems alright. It's just a bit slow. Weather looks fine all weekend. I don't think there's any... There was a little bit of rain, I think, Friday morning, but no other news. Sainz's price reflects how inconsistent he's been this season. 100% agree, Nathaniel, but at the same time, he's also had some pretty bad luck with, like, mechanical failures, like Lawson last week. So yeah, I think, yes, he's had it by his standards a pretty bad season, which is why. And if you follow me on Twitter, I posted about Sainz in the mid-season break. I genuinely think Carlos Sainz has got a very big last 7 to 10 races left in him for 2025. I'm not suggesting he's going to win races, but I realistically do think Sainz is going to outperform his price over the next 5 races at least. Monza, Baku, similar tracks. Fully expect that will hopefully deliver something for him, not just fantasy wise, but also just as a driver, that confidence. He's well off. He's 17th in the driver standings. So I do think there is probably some reason for him to get lucky, put it that way. And so far, the poll, pretty overwhelmingly in favor of Ferrari so far. Pretty overwhelmingly in favor of Ferrari. Williams, the next popular, and then there's no one else. So 134 votes. I tell you what, we're not at 134 likes. I'm just kidding. I don't want to sound insufferable. 76 likes, 300 of you here. It's going well so far, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for coming through. Saturday morning here in the US, Saturday afternoon in Europe and the UK. Probably, if you're in Asia, Australia, it's probably... In Australia, it's like 10:39 p.m. on a Saturday night. So it might still be Saturday for a lot of you. And yeah, I got muted. Good. I'm going to end that poll. Get the results for you in the chat. All right, back to a few more questions. We'll race through these. How does the weather look? Answered that. It's going to be dry. Worth to go 4A, but Colapinto in the team. Absolutely. Yusuf Fenry goes McLaren, Ferrari, Piastri 2. Hajar, Albon, Alonso, Sainz 122. Bortoletto or Sainz will be better. Sainz definitely. Any thoughts? Put it this way. If you're short on budget, what have you got? 122. I'd probably go Bortoletto just for the budget upside. But Sainz is perfectly fine too. Any thoughts on Williams' constructor to keep 3x McLaren? I don't think McLaren Ali have as much of a gap on the competition as they did last week. I wouldn't be surprised if the McLaren 1-2 streak is broken by Leclerc this weekend. Just a thought. So I'm pushing away from Williams for that matter. Hatem has decided on Piastri, Norris, Albon, Alonso, Hajar, McLaren, Aston Martin. Looks good. Is -10 worth it for Stroll, Norris, Aston to Albon, Hajar, Ferrari? I don't want to use the wild card. Yeah, sure. -10 is fine for that. I could do that too. I'm not going to be taking the -10 for Hajar though. Albon versus Hajar. I think I said Hajar for budget, Albon for points. Miguel has the same team, leaning to keep the triple McLaren. Plus Alonso, Bortoletto, switch Aston, Williams to Stroll, Hajar. Yeah, exactly. I agree, Miguel. Azerbaijan, kind of anticipating those transfers. Hajar was over a 10th quicker in FP3. A 10th, though. Like, what's a 10th worth in practice? Not much. I don't read into it too much. Top up the mint tea. I could. I think I'd rather top up the chat with a few answers, though. 1040 in Oz. Zachary, fellow Australian, great to have you. I mean, I know you're in the chat, but yes. Ferrari drivers are kind of cursed if budget building at the moment. Yeah, I wouldn't be going near Hamilton. In hindsight, was the move to Aston Martin the wrong one? I think it's easy to be sat here and be a hindsight merchant about last week. I would make that at the time, that decision again. I think for me, so the logic was for my decision last week, I have the wild card. If I've overcorrected with my transfers, then I just use the wild card in Monza and wild card the Aston Martin assets out, which is not entirely out of the equation, but I still think I can cover off a lot of what I want this weekend without needing to use it. I think there's more value in holding the wild card for my team for a couple races time. Look, I think with the Ferrari double DNF, the Norris 2X, it's easy to look back at the rank drop and be like, okay, that was a really crappy result. But all things being equal, it probably would have been a small green arrow if there were no DNFs. I was taking a gamble on Aston Martin, like Alonso being a top 3, top 4, and Stroll being like 7th, and neither of those things happened. So I think it's easy to look back and be angry about the outcome, but I'm fine with the decision I made at the time. So no, I wouldn't consider it a mistake. Some people might, but personally, like, I can live with that. I can live with my decision. And realistically, I think the decision making for my team this year has been good, even if it has been a little unlucky. But great question, Matt. Great question. If Sainz can find consistency, he could be a great option. Yes, 100%. Hi, Rob. What's a good time to go for a risky differential lineup? Up to 77th in the global league. Huh. Not bad, Jack. Not bad at all. I think you're going something risky for shits and giggles. Yeah, I think double Williams would be a little bit risky. I don't think many people would have double Williams this week. Sunday in New Zealand. Fair. Chris, thank you for dropping by. Love to see the Aussie representation in the chat, to be honest. It's a nice taste of home. Giuseppe, Piastri, Hajar, Bortoletto, Alonso, Lawson, McLaren, Mercedes. What would you change? Have 0.4 left. There's not much to change, unfortunately. Sainz, maybe? Could you get... I don't think you can get from, like, Lawson or Bortoletto to Sainz. Maybe that. Ferrari will always be Ferrari. Any consideration for Kick Sauber assets? I don't think they're a buy. They're like a don't buy, but probably a sell. Like, Bortoletto, I think, perfectly fine to hold. Hulkenberg, I'm probably moving away from if you've got him. Budget building upsides are not very high. Yeah. You got to keep in mind for a -10 to be worth it, replacing the driver got to score at least 10 points more. Exactly right, which is why midfield driver -10s are not necessarily worth it, because how often does one midfield driver outscore another by more than 10 unless it's a DNF? And if you can predict DNFs, you've probably won F1 Fantasy before. So that's why I just don't generally encourage -10s for midfield drivers. Why aren't you wildcarding this week, and when do you plan to wildcard? Because I can get to largely what I want this week without one. I could get Albon, Ferrari, and for Norris, Aston Martin. And I think, again, the wild card's more valuable to me later in the season, like Singapore. 350 of you. Whoop-de-doo. Love to see it. All right. So, and also, actually, because there's been a little bit of interest in the... in the previous streams, I will show my other two teams for this week. My team 2 is ranked about 1,000 in the world, so doing much better than my team 1. I've made my transfers already for team 2. So this week it was Albon, Sainz, Ferrari in for Mercedes, Hulkenberg and Stroll, I believe. Yeah. So this is my team 2, 1,000 in the world, so doing much better. Always one step ahead with the extra transfers, but it hasn't got many chips left. I think it's just got the 3x, the autopilot, and the final fix. Oh yeah, so it's only got the wild card more so than my team 1. So it's probably my best chance of cracking top 1,000 this year for this team. This one is also Lawson. I just haven't had time to get rid of, but I only had 2 transfers. So I think I took Stroll and Aston Martin out for Ferrari and Albon. So yeah. But that's my team 1. I'll stop dry retching. Monza Curse definitely inbound. I watched the race with my girlfriend, and after the Ferrari double DNF, she asked me if we were supporting the right team. The pain I felt, Rob, is unbearable. It is unbearable. The pain is not nice. These Ferrari double DNFs. I mean, we also had the disqualification in China, rip. So I was on the end of that too. Oh, cut me some slack, F1 Fantasy. Thoughts on taking a gamble on Verstappen this week? Maybe that's the differential people are talking about. I don't know. Not for me personally. Scotch cures all. I don't drink scotch. More of a gin guy, actually. But gin's not really what you have when you're sick, is it? Be right back. Just coffee. I'm going to Ferrari 4A, Daniel says, next week. I definitely need to drop Albon, but could I realistically keep Hajar? Probably, yeah. Get him while he's cheap. Thoughts on Limitless this weekend? Triple McLaren, triple Ferrari for Limitless, and whoever you want as the 5th. Should I go Williams for Aston Martin for -10 with budget building and points in mind? Yep, think that's fine. Nabadeep. Is it worth a -10 to go from Lawson to Hajar? Probably not. What would you wildcard to? This team, except take out Stroll and Bortoletto for Sainz and Hajar. Williams didn't do that well in FP3, which is why I agree, John. Maybe the double or triple up is not quite as enticing as it might have been yesterday. I don't really like the chances of Colapinto. Oh, Axis, that's because of your... excuse me. Because of that team you got. I think Colapinto's a fine enabler. I wrote about him in my F1 article this week, actually. F1 Fantasy Monza. Let's see that. So this was what I wrote for Formula 1 this week. For those of you asking about Colapinto. What's the best lineup for the Italian Grand Prix? So this was before practice too. So glad I called the Williams. Russell's fine, I guess. I'm never going to get all of these correct, but Williams, so Albon, and I called the Williams Constructor. But regarding Colapinto, yes, he's perhaps not the first name on everyone's list in F1 Fantasy, but his highest score has come at this track in F1 Fantasy, which was last year, and he also had 11 points last week. So I don't think he's necessarily like... I don't like him personally as an F1 Fantasy asset. I'm also just not the biggest fan of him as a driver. But if you're on the low side with budget, you need a 4.5 enabler. Yes, he may not go up in value, but I think he's perfectly fine if you're trying to squeeze in more expensive assets. So yeah, if you enjoy these articles, if you read these articles that I write on Formula One and you like them, great. If there's any feedback you'd have that to change, I guess, the content of the article, then I'd love to hear from you, because I've been doing it so far, all of this year, and it seems as though the feedback has been generally quite positive, but I'm always looking to improve what I write. And so yeah, if you guys have anything you'd change about these articles I write on their website, and things you'd like me to cover more so, less so, the plan generally is to cover just 5 drivers, 2 constructors, not necessarily within our budget constraints, because everyone's budget is different. But yeah, if you've got any feedback, I'd love to hear it. So yeah, 400 of you, great. 400 in the chat, 100 likes, great. Great. We love that. Sorry, little eccentric. That's what happens when I'm sick and I'm just trying to keep myself head above water. Williams didn't do that well in FP3, I agree. Wildcard is going to be McLaren, Ferrari, Piastri, Gasly, Colapinto, Lawson, Bortoleto, at least until FP3 sims. Great work, Axis. Again, Colapinto's fine. Williams and Albon in for Ferrari and Lawson. Worth it or stick with Ferrari? Stick with Ferrari, I think. I have Norris and Piastri. Should I autopilot or save it? Okay, well, I'm probably the last person you want to be asking about the autopilot chip, because I didn't use it last week and it shot me to bits. So, look, I think, you can't predict engine failures, but I think there'll be plenty of opportunities to use the autopilot, if I can get my words out, later in the season. It's a dry race. Monza is typically lower DNF rate, not necessarily a lot of overtakes. So I think whoever kind of qualifies P1, P2s in with the best shot of winning the Grand Prix. But again, play your own game. Frederick's asking Stroll or Alonso. Definitely Alonso for me this week. Do you prefer Hajar over Sainz? Hajar, yes. I think I do, for budget, for pace. Sainz is probably more of the differential. Can you so fast wildcard team? My wildcard team would be this, but take out Stroll and Bortoleto for Sainz and Hajar. For Limitless, Hamilton or Russell? Probably Hamilton. I think I do trust the Ferrari pace just a little bit more. Sticking with the Aston duo for purely budget? No, because, well, yeah, I guess. But I need to get Norris and Aston Martin out to get Ferrari in. And to be honest, I don't want to take hits. So I'm stuck with Alonso and Stroll for one more week. Am I happy about it? No. I don't think I really want to have Alonso and Stroll at a track like Monza or at a track like Baku. I may resent not wildcarding them out. I think I back Alonso much more than I back Stroll. Stroll's a dreadful qualifier. He's never really had a great result at Monza either. So, yeah, I think personally there's just quite a bit to... I'm not overly stoked about having Stroll at Monza, but you kind of have to make do sometimes with these transfers. Hey, Jeremy. Great to have you here, my friend. Am I still sick? I'm fully sick. No, I am a bit bugged. I've been carrying this virus for the whole last week or so. I mean, if you were on my stream last weekend, you probably saw me cough up 2 lungs. This Saturday, I'm only coughing up 1. I've just been fighting this virus for about a week or so. So that's why I didn't feel great on Wednesday, Thursday. So I scrapped my final thoughts video. If you guys kind of followed my community tab on the channel, but it's been a bit of a yucky week. So I'm I'm getting there, 80% of the way there. Giuseppe is asking, would you keep Piastri, Hajar, Bortoleto, Alonso, Lawson, McLaren, Mercedes, or Piastri, Colapinto, Gasly, Lawson, Bortoleto, McLaren, Ferrari? Goal is to score as many points as possible. If you want to score points this week, Giuseppe, Ferrari. EF is going Piastri, Hülkenberg, Lawson, Alonso, Colapinto, McLaren, Ferrari. Shall I Limitless? And if so, who should you put in? Talked about Limitless already. I don't think you need to with a team like that. Hang on. Is that the Sims? Is that the FP3 Sims? No, it's not. It's just a Discord notification. That's not for F1 Fantasy Tools. Anyway, what else have we got? Ferrari and Hülkenberg or Williams Leclerc? I go Ferrari. Oh, Ferrari Hulk. Could you go Ferrari and someone that's not Hulk? Could you go like Ferrari Hajar? Ferrari Sainz? You wrote that Hajar was the most owned asset. Surely Piastri is. Nah, he's not. Hajar is definitely the most owned asset. Guarantee you. 55%. Piastri at 40%. Among engaged managers, I will say Piastri probably is, but among the entire 2.5 million person player base, Hajar is 55%. Did I see the Freo vs Suns game? Nah, I don't follow Aussie rules, unfortunately. I grew up in Sydney, which is more of a rugby city than a footy city. So I couldn't tell you who's top of the Aussie rules, top of the AFL. No stop till Brooklyn. Hopefully that answered your question. Josh Jones, thank you, mate. I appreciate you. I'm stuck on strategy. Would you Hajar and Russell or Colapinto Russell with quick fix to Leclerc tomorrow? Fair. Good point. Final fix. All right, so my team, I don't think I've got a final fixed like line for this team this week, but I think some people can do it. I'm trying to think how this would work though. You would need a B tier constructor to final fix in a second premium, but at that point, is owning Leclerc to not 2x him worth it? That's always been my biggest question, right? Is unless the B tier constructor looks like an objectively top 2, top 3 team, which I thought for a minute last week Aston Martin could have been, but clearly was not. I'm so delusional. I think there probably is an argument to final fix in like a Leclerc this week. For Norris or I can't remember. I haven't really given it any thought because it's just not been on my radar, but I know Ewan talked about it. And so there's probably an argument. I just, like, how does this even work? If we theoretically had let's put Williams in. This is not going to be my team. This will not happen for me this week. But if I had, how does this even work? You'd have to come... So, hang on. Let's think this through, right? So I think I've seen something like this where people have... Does it work like this? No. So it would have to be Williams, right? Because you can't afford to final fix in a... Yeah, I've seen someone do or suggest this, where you have Hajar in for the budget upside because you get the points and the budget or the price change of the original driver and then the race points of the replacement driver. So you'd have a lineup like this, theoretically speaking, like Stroll, Bortoleto don't necessarily, or Alonso don't have to be in these slots. And then final fix like a Stroll or a Bortoleto out for someone like Leclerc. Like, that could work on final fix because that means you're only making 2 transfers plus the third final fix. You're not taking -10. Am I going to do that? No. But if you want to be a little creative, that's perhaps a route you could go down this weekend. I just don't know if I don't think there's personally enough upside for my team to use that. I'd rather just, I don't know, a final fix for me is such a scattershot chip. And the most upside, I mean, like Rain, and full credit to him, he executed it perfectly last week with Isaac Hajar. But I'd say more often than not, the most upside is where you get like a pre-race withdrawal. I have put my chip strategy out during the week, so check that out if you want kind of a chip insight. But yeah, I think the final fix is like to best used on like a DNS if the driver withdraws before the race starts. Speaking of rain, he is sick by the sounds of things, so hopefully he's feeling better. 2x on Norris or Leclerc? Probably Norris. What made you decide Ferrari Albon over Williams Norris? Because I can't afford Williams Norris, but I also just like the teamwork upside, the pit stop points for Ferrari. I just think with midfield teams, and we saw this last week with Aston Martin, you just don't know how they're going to go in qualifying, even if their single lap looks good. Like Stroll binned it. And you never know. I'm not saying it's likely. I think both Williams drivers are Q3 locks, or not locks, but I think they're a good shot at a Q3 appearance. But there's every world in which one of them doesn't, and you miss out on those qualifying bonus points. So 3x for Piastri this week. I wouldn't recommend Hamza. Worth sticking with triple McLaren, or would you switch to double McLaren, double Ferrari? I'd definitely do the double McLaren, double Ferrari if you can afford it. Dashing Fox. Wow, TIL? Today I learned. What did you learn? 3x for Coda? Yeah, 3x for Coda is definitely the preference. Where's your... never mind. Anton is asking Piastri, Stroll, Alonso, Hajar, Bortoletto, or Piastri, Albon, Alonso, Bortoletto, Colapinto. Piastri, Albon, definitely. No one's talking about Verstappen. I just think he's okay. I just... What you take is Verstappen, like, also Piastri getting close to max, so in I would rather just take a sure thing in a McLaren driver. What part of Sydney did you live, Rob? If you don't mind answering, I worked at UNSW and lived in Kingsford. Liked living there a lot. I grew up on the northern beaches, if you're familiar with the Sydney geography. So like in and around like the Manly area. Final fix in Brazil when it rains? Possibly. Yeah, possibly. I genuinely think there's opportunity to use the final fix where there's a grid penalty, last race of the season. Adam likes the idea of using final fix in Brazil. I think Autopilot's probably the preferred chip for me that weekend if it's raining. Anzit, sorry if I've mispronounced that. If I'm going limitless, should I do the following? Yes, I like that. Are you going to do a shoey on stream next week in honor of Oscar's 10th win? Oh. I didn't even read who typed that into the chat, and now I'm... Thanks, Luke. Thanks, mate. Mate, I'm so sick. I'm so unwell. I don't think... When did I last do a shoey on stream? It would have been Belgium, I think. I think it was Belgium. You didn't even show up for that stream, mate. We should catch up. I feel like the McLarens will end up with better race pace this weekend. Yeah, I think so too. Remind me to text you, Luke, after this. I'm relatively new to F1 Fantasy. What is the popular decision-making process of engaged players for weekly transfers? Practice results, race form, quali form, follow the crowd. Great question, Goldhead. I think it's a combination of all of those things. My yardstick is... Wait, is that Sims? No. Someone tell me in the chat when the Sims are up for F1 Fantasy Tools. My process is practice times and the F1 Fantasy projections, but I feel like 90 to 95% of the time, I will usually have a good idea of what my moves are before the sims are out, and then the sims essentially just vet. All right. That's it. Yeah. I think the computer, I told you something would go wrong with OBS. I told you something would go wrong with OBS right at the peak of the stream. Viewership was climbing, engagement was peaking. It dropped for like, I think 15 seconds. But we're back. The timer is Oh no, I got to reset the timer. That's not when the deadline is. That's not when the deadline is. Panic stations. Let's fix that. Okay, cool. I think we're back. Oh god, F's in the chat. F's in the chat for Rob. I told you. Rewind to like the first 2 minutes of the stream and I was like, I guarantee you OBS will F it up again. I need a new I need a new streaming software. Yet everyone I know uses OBS. So audio seems fine. The timer, I know, right? The timer was like 23 hours. Anyway, sorry everyone. Sorry. I think we're back though. Goodness me. I'll be here through the freezers. I think we're good. I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good. It was, anyway. I told you guys. I told you. Anyway, let me race through a few more questions. My 2 yardsticks. Yeah, it's the free practice time and the F1 Fantasy Tool simulations. That's kind of what I'd use for 90% of 90% of how I inform my decisions. Going for McLaren, Piastri, Ferrari, Leclerc. Jealous, Urban, that you can even afford that. It's not going to be a sad Sunday. It'll be a good Sunday. Stroll did have a podium 5 years ago. Wow, I forgot about that. So long ago. 2x on Norris or Leclerc. I think I answered that before, but Norris. Derek, thank you. Some Sydney love. That was a crazy race. I missed the F2 race. I did miss the F2 race. Oh, awesome. Someone in the chat working for Cadillac F1 in Silverstone. Can't wait for next year for some inside knowledge for fantasy. That is what we love to see. So Josh, to answer your question about my article, so I was approached by F1 at the start of the year. They just asked if I wanted to write for them, and I said yes, jumped at it. Like, how often does that opportunity come around? And yeah, I have just done a once a week race preview for the last 15 races this season. So I just type it up in like a Word doc, and then they copy and paste it into their content management system, which is kind of formatted how you see on the website. So like I have nothing to do with this interface. That's all like the full-time editor's jobs to format it and paste it. I just type and do the research. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to write for Formula One. Very grateful for that. But I think the stream is back up and running. Audio seems good. Everyone's back in the chat. Few F's in the chat though. 51 minutes. I feel like what I'm seeing on screen right now is what my team is likely going to look like for this weekend. I'm not overly excited about Stroll and Bortoletto. Alonso, is the face cam lagging? Oh, that's a bummer. I'm sorry. It's probably, yeah. Look, unfortunately, I can't do much more about that because it's the software. I'm gonna either have to upgrade my, I'm gonna have to upgrade my I'm not even a tech guy. It's like the RAM. Is that what makes the streams go faster? It's definitely got something to do with the internet connection as well. But OBS maybe is just working over time on this Microsoft Surface. So if it's lagging, I'm sorry. I'm doing all I can, which isn't clearly a lot. But anyway, if you don't want to put up with laggy, problematic software streaming, a chaotic F1 fantasy content creator losing his marbles over the streaming software more than his own F1 fantasy team, then Ewan and Rain are streaming right now, which are excellent content creators. So definitely worth directing you guys to them if you want an alternative viewpoint. But yeah, 400 of you. We love to see it. 400 of you, 133 likes. We've got 2.5k views over the last hour. So love that. All right. Question for everyone in the chat. Thanks, Isaac. I will ask everyone a question in just a second. When's the best time to use the wildcard? When you're taking -10s or more. Is this that Doppler effect thing I hear the kids talking about? I don't know what that is, Dean. Appreciate it, C. Paul. Appreciate it. Why are you not playing wildcard? Because I want to save it. I am considering it, but I'm likely not, because I want to really unlock the full value of pivoting into the 4A in like 2 to 3 weeks time in like Singapore, say. Because if we look at the calendar, so I am hoping maybe I take a -10, because we've got 3 more races between now and COTA to build up enough value. I 100% want to be on the 4A by the time we get to COTA. If not Singapore, at least. And I think by the time we get to Singapore, low overtake, slower circuit, or slightly slower circuit compared to the 2 preceding it, I want enough value to pivot into that. The problem is, if I use a wild card now to get in Sainz, so like I've thought this through. So if I use the wild card now, this would be my team, right? I'm just talking out loud, like you guys might have slightly different teams, but this would be my team this weekend if I use the wild card. The problem is, these guys are not the lowest of the low assets, so at some point I'm going to need to bring in someone like Colapinto or Gasly. I obviously don't want to miss out on the price gains, so maybe a -10. Maybe a -10. Yeah, could do a -10 this week. Hajar is like a 2-week hold, so maybe it pays itself off. I suppose my point of view on my team is like, I have this team now, right? If I had a wild card this week, I would take this team. Then in Baku, it's probably not too dissimilar. Maybe a DNF crops up between one of these guys, and obviously I'm on the budget preservation train, so need to get out of those toxic assets. At that point, theoretically speaking, I'm probably going for, let's say, I don't know, let's just take Gasly. He's cheapish. Like, let's just say I do something like that. The thing is, I need to downgrade my midfield assets to upgrade my more premium assets. So like, I would downgrade Gasly potentially. I'd probably also have to downgrade Alonso at some point. Let's just put Colapinto in. No. Hang on. I'd have Hajar. I'd put Gasly in here. Let's just say that's my transfer in Baku. I'd probably also need to downgrade like a Sainz or a Hajar. Let's say Sainz to Colapinto. Albon still doesn't get me up to Russell. That's the problem. Like, I'm still 0.7 short at the moment. So I'm just thinking, do I just accrue more value? I might be able to get there next week if all of the cards fall my way with budget gain this week. So I'm contemplating a -10 for Hajar as well, but I just think there's more. I just think there's more value for my team to saving the wild card. Oh, I really need to go to the bathroom. I might have to call the stream early. You guys don't even want to hear that. But the point is, I think I've got more. I think there's more merit to my team holding it for as long as possible and using it right when I can pivot into a 4A lineup or something quite like that. So yeah, 415 concurrent viewers, 145 likes on the stream. We're almost at 9,300 subscribers as well. So if you're watching this, you haven't subscribed, please do. That's a nice little milestone. If I can get to 9,300 before the end of the stream, that would be superb. And yeah, 145 likes. Pretty good. So this is my team. So far, so good. Yeah, it's kind of it. Far out. I'm busting. I might have to go to the... might have to call the stream at like 9:30. Or if I tell you what, I'm going to run quickly and I'll be... Sorry about that. Thank you for being patient. I know a few of you dropped. I literally just... oh, God. That's not something I thought I'd ever have to do. Run to the toilet quickly on stream. But, yeah. Anyway, I'm back. Sorry. God. Oh, God. This is chaotic. I did wash my hands. Don't you worry. It was quick. So, in the last hour and 17 minutes... the stream has dropped. I've had to go to the bathroom quickly. I've heard knocking on the door outside, which I don't think has come through on the mic. Yeah, you're never going to get a normal F1 fantasy stream on the Formula Fantasy Hub YouTube channel. So I boxed. Yeah, I went a quick pit stop. You could call it that. Anyway, I've talked through my wildcard strategy a little bit. Anyway. Sorry, this is absolutely chaotic. 1.98 sub pit stop. Thank you. I'm unhinged on today's stream. I'm so sorry. Anyway, feel much better about that. Gasly or Colapinto? Probably Colapinto. Cheaper. Yeah. Cheaper. Good form around here. I feel like this is a track that could build Colapinto's confidence, and he probably will qualify P20. So like, he can't go any further back. Peppermint tea, yeah, needed to really use the Alonso, Albon, or Antonelli Colapinto. Alonso, Albon for sure. Colapinto, Antonelli is a double DNF waiting to happen. Limitless goes Oscar, Norris, Leclerc, Max. Hamilton, I guess. Maybe Russell. God. All right, I was going to ask a question in the chat before I dipped. And I never got to it. I'm just checking the audio is working fine. So many questions. People are like, where did he go? What's he doing? Why is there no one on camera? Anyway. This chat is a little unhinged. It's a little unhinged, but I'm here for it. You guys are unbelievably funny. Creeping up to 9,300. So the question I had, I asked this a couple times before in the past, was what is everyone's budget? Because I tried to, a couple race weekends ago, asked in the chat, like, what's everyone's budget? I want to tweak my content, my team selection, my final thoughts content, so I can, let's say, cater team options or like certain slides or pages on the video to certain team structures. So let me know what your budget is in the chat below, because I'm going to try and do that as we get closer to Baku, because we've got 2 weeks off, Singapore again. We'll try and build out more content specific to, again, those 4A shifts or those template shifts. It looks like a lot of people are in the high 120s now, which is great. A couple of people in the 110s. But it's good to see, like, everyone watching this, I get the impression is very engaged in F1 Fantasy. If you're watching, excuse me, if you're watching F1 Fantasy content creators like me, Rain, Adam, Ewan, Zach, etc., like I would expect most of you have a pretty competitive F1 Fantasy budget. And so I do try and gear my content towards you guys that are engaged and have higher budgets. Most of you probably have higher budgets than I do. Like I'm at 128 something. 128.4. So I'm probably like smack bang in the middle of a lot of you. Like I'm seeing a lot of, so let's see, 122 from Iman, same with Nerance, couple of, Zach's 119, Axe is 111, Jeremy 127. So no stop till Brooklyn, 131. A couple of 130s. I'm loving that. Loving that for you guys. Nick 129.5, Ali 128.2, Lado 121.6. Yeah, Miguel 129.6, Simon 129.4. So yeah, you got Josh 130, Bug Morgan 139. So like that's great. Like this is a very engaged cohort of individuals watching and playing F1 Fantasy. Maybe too engaged that you end up actually having to watch me go to the bathroom quickly on stream. But the point is, I do try and make sure like I'm getting the full spectrum of budgets. Like for Dale, who's like 116, I think Axis is a little lower as well. Like I'm trying as well to cater some of my slides on my videos to some of those lower budget teams. It's not the end of the world if you've got 115, 120 million in budget. Like there's still ways to score points and win your mini leagues. I just think maybe there's options that are slightly more differential because of the price. Like Colapinto right now is probably going to be a very highly owned asset in these teams that are under 120 million. But I am fascinated because there is a huge swing, a huge delta. I hate that word, delta. There's a huge difference between some of like those 130s versus those 115s. But that's good. I appreciate you guys adding to the chat, truly just because of the fact that I will have probably more pointed content between now and Baku and now in Singapore. Monza was just a bit of a write-off because I've been sick all week. But the minimum budget, great question, Azun Crew. Minimum budget to run a 4A. Let's see. If we plug this into the... Like, it depends on what the 4A lineup is, right? Like, if we go Colapinto, Gasly, and then, what, like Lawson, Bortoletto? Let's just put that at 0. Piastri, like, what's this team get us? Excuse me. 128.5 for the very bottom of the barrel. Russell. I wouldn't be going near Antonelli right now. So, I think Russell Ferrari, excuse me, Russell Ferrari is probably like the best starting point for that. If the Alpine drivers suddenly have a good race and Sorry. Oh my god, this stream is just so bad. Oh. Yeah, I know. Sorry. The microphone thing fell out of the back. I didn't even mute the chat. The microphone thing fell out. This is just like objectively the worst stream. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. The microphone just... Ugh. Why do people tolerate me? Why do people tolerate me? Yeah, when I grabbed my phone, the cord fell out and I didn't realize. No, I'm being dramatic. I'm being dramatic. I know. I'm being dramatic. I'm not angry at all. I'm not angry at all. I'm being over dramatic and I just trying to instill. I honestly get more interaction when shit hits the fan than if I'm just talking about I'm just talking about F1 fantasy. Anyway, let me replay the last 3 minutes of I don't care. Like I own it. I'm not embarrassed at all. It's actually quite funny. And just generally chaotic. Hit that dislike button if you're not new around here and you're disliking the fact I mute half the stream. What I was talking about was, and it was definitely yeah, look, this is I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I don't really care. I think I probably was muted for maybe a minute. Anyway. Go drop another deuce. Too funny. So what I was saying was the stream, the team, not the stream. The stream's crap. The team's good. The team on screen here is McLaren, Ferrari, Piastri, Russell. So 128.5. If you had Leclerc in there, that would be 129.6. So I think you got to wait until Alpine are likely for a rise. To justify owning both of them. A Colapinto, like I have no problems with lower budget teams owning one. But right now, Alpine just are not appealing whatsoever. So I really hope I can just build another couple mil this week. It's funny though, because the simulations push me towards Sainz more than Albon. My team one, it's saying to take out Piastri and keep Norris in, which I'm not a fan of. I guess the sims only take into account 1 week at a time, but as opposed to forward planning. Sound hello. Anyway, the point is, I think for my team, I'm going to plan ahead. I'm playing the budget rise for Albon more than the points for Sainz, but it's minimal between both. It's really minimal between both. That would be a -10 though. Like my thought here is, do I take the -10 for Hajar? Because I think as well, when the sims come out, they should be out by now. I'm looking. Last time I grabbed my phone, the mic disconnected. I'm blaming this guy. That wasn't my fault. No, it was really. I'm looking for the sims, but I don't see any yet. So anyway, this has to be the most unhinged. Okay, so Ryder has a hardware problem, no sims. Oh, I don't feel so bad now. I'm not the only person with hardware problems on a Saturday. Anyway, looks like he is typing in the announcements chat. All right, so I'll read out the okay, analyst simulations. Announcements. Here we go. I don't see fantasy. Is he typing in the fantasy chat? Or is it the analysis chat? Yeah, I don't. Anyway, point is we don't get free practice sims. So Rob might actually do his own. Let's adjust the sims just a little bit. Someone asked for the budget builder. I won't spend much time on it because I'd rather look at the team calculator. So if you want to look at this in your own time to see what drivers need to hit to reach a max rise, just go to f1fantasytools.com/budget-builder to see this. I was looking in the analysis chat. Did I miss that? Oh, okay. Okay, yep, got it. Found it. That was 7 minutes ago. So I would like to run some numbers, but alas, a bit of a hardware issue. Don't think it can be resolved in time. So I don't think we're getting sims. So instead, let me cook. This is the budget builder, but I'm going to go back to the team calculator. If you guys think I should go higher or lower on any of these estimates, let me know. And I'm just going to plug in what I think is directionally correct for some of these. For the most of the top drivers, I'm probably going to leave as is. He's already adjusted for the Hamilton grid penalty. Sainz and Albon, I'd probably honestly put even. Let's just put like 9 each for both. I don't think you could split them. Oop. So 9. And then Sonoda, I don't know. I just put him at 7. Where do I see the most swing? I probably see Hajar a lot higher than 3.5. I'd probably put him at about 7. Can Hajar make a 10-point difference? According to my estimates I'm cooking up right now, no, I don't think he will. But it's more like, I also look at Hajar as like, you're not looking at just points. Like, do you think the 0.6 gain over Lawson's possible drop is enough? These are not the FP3 sims. We're cooking. We're cooking. These are Rob's FP3 sims. So if I recalculated, like, my recommended transfers on the basis that Albon and Sainz score similar, 216 with a 2.27 gain. So I would also have in the constructor department, I'd probably have Williams slightly lower. I'd probably put it like 25. But yeah, there is, like, if I, resim the numbers, like, what if I force include Williams? So right now, the team I want is 215 at 2.2. If I force include Williams, that is 205 at 1.8. So the gain for Williams is just not as high. Stroll is way too high. You're right. Stroll is way too high. Hajar pretty much guaranteed for the 0.6, but not sure about the 10 points. Yeah, agreed. Likes a free chat, hit the thumbs up button. Sim, you are honestly an OG. You are always plugging the likes in the chat. I appreciate you, my friend. He's typing in analyst simulations, not announcements. Got it. Could you show the budget list? Did that. Should be in the cloud. Yeah, I think, like, for me, Hajar is... Stroll is like a 3 here. I'd probably plug Alonso at like a 5 or a 6. Let's put Alonso at like a... Oh, God. Let's put Alonso at like 6.8. And then what I put Hajar at, like... I don't know what I put Hajar. I put Hajar at 8. So, yeah, I think Hajar scores similar to both Williams drivers this weekend. 9,300 subs. You're clearly not here for functional streams and people who are on the camera for the entire 2 hours. Because if you prefer that, then this is not the place to be. But appreciate the 9,300 subs. Almost 200 likes for the stream as well. Almost 400 of you in the chat. You guys are too kind. But yeah, generally speaking, I think it's kind of, for me, split between Hajar, Sainz and Albon, and then Ferrari and Aston out. I'm fairly confident. I think I just want to play the upside. Well, play the upside. I realistically could go, because if I go to the budget builder one more time, yes, Hajar is like a definite lock for a 0.6, but I've also got all 3 of these guys that essentially just have to score more than 4 in Albon's case. Alonso and Stroll, like, as long as none of these guys DNF, they're good. and I'm very okay with that. So, yes, Hajar. The thing is, Hajar is the only transfer I'd consider making is taking out Bortoletto for Hajar for -10, because as soon as we get to Baku, Bortoletto will be out of my team, and Hajar's 33 will carry for this week and for Baku. So Sainz needs for a max rise like 10, I'm pretty sure. No, 14. Like it's not a guarantee Sainz gets the 0.6. That's the concern I have for him this weekend. He's a differential for a reason. However, I do think he can reach the 14. It's just such a higher bar for him compared to someone like Albon. So, look, Sainz could score 20 points. If he finishes close to the podium, driver of the day is a certainty. If there's a midfield driver that's in the top 5, they're like almost certainly getting the driver of the day. So yeah, there's some argument, but excuse me. There's some argument for Sainz, but I'm really not sure it's worth it for my team this week. I'd want to see. God. All right. So, yeah, there's a couple of different options on the table. I think for me, Carlos Sainz, don't get me wrong, I think he's a great option, but he will probably score, my guess is he scores probably between 10 and 15 points this week. And then because his threshold is so much lower, like theoretically speaking, let's pretend this 6 is in fact his Monza score, because they take 2 averages to calculate the future week's rise. Let's put 10 in here. If Sainz scores 10 in Monza, I'm so sorry, I'm so sick. He only needs 10's still not that great. So Sainz realistically has to score like 15 to have a pretty good shot at having a max rise in Baku. I'm not saying that's outside the realms of possibility. I just think he's got a very heavy lift this week. So I'll put back his score from Hungary, 6. So it's just why I'm so okay with having Bortoletto, Alonso, Stroll, Albon this week. Who knows? Like Bortoletto, Alonso, and Stroll could all DNF in Monza, and then that is a wild card almost certainly locked in. But anyway, I think Sainz is probably one more week. Wait and see. Unless you're confident he can really crank out a good result. Good lineup for Limitless this week is probably triple McLaren, triple Ferrari, and Max. 88-point differential, like that's a good delta, William. I think if you can like put on, honestly, anything more than 80 is a decent delta for a Limitless. I think it was 100-ish in Monaco. People use Limitless in Monza to great effect 2 years ago. So I wouldn't rule it out here. It's a huge DRS train. The only major overtaking zone is the main straight into turn 1. So I don't know necessarily if there's going to be a bunch of overtakes. It's possible, but not that many. Alonso or Sainz? This week, Alonso. I think Yuki's set too high. Based on the last 7 races, he should be below Alonso. Yeah, I don't know where the stock in Red Bull is all of a sudden. I just don't know. See you, Zach. Thank you for coming through, mate. Thank you, as always. And yeah, I know, get those teams locked in. We've got 20 minutes until the deadline. I think I'm going Albon for this week. I want to play the Williams upside more. Oh, but Hajar has upside too. Hang on. I tell you what I haven't looked at all. Actually, I've not done this the last couple of weeks because I feel like the sims are a little misleading. But I wanted to look at the practice debrief. Because I've honestly not been hugely, let's call it, invested in the simulations from Formula 1. Okay, is this page going to load or is it going to crash my stream again? Look, twice in an hour. I'm not ruling anything out. So what's the quali sim pace? So Racing Bulls, a bit further down, but what's their race pace? Sorry, I'm dancing all over the place here. I'm not buying the Red Bull simulation. That's all max as well. Like Yuki is not anywhere close to that. I'm not buying Red Bull. I'm sorry. I'm not. Max, sure, but Yuki will be nowhere. Like they don't, to be fair, it's less than a 10th between Aston Martin and Racing Bulls. But I think I'm going to play the Williams upside for this week. I'm fairly confident that's the play. So yeah, that's kind of where my head's at. What else have we got in the chat? Williams and Norris, Ferrari and Albon. I think Ferrari, Albon. That's what I'm doing for him. I'm just making sure there's no other things on Fantasy Tools. Would you take a -10 to swap Stroll for Hajar? Probably not. I mean, it kind of comes down. I mean, for me, no. There have been a lot of questions around -10s for Hajar. I think he's a hold for at least a couple of weeks. So look at it. I kind of look at it as like a -5 over 2 weeks if you break out that. But Stroll is also going to rise in price, hopefully. Fingers crossed, no retirement. So yeah, that's. I think I'm okay with this for 1 more week. I'll probably lock it in the next 3 minutes. Is there anything else on Twitter? Any other news? Any other late mail? I'm sick. The stream has crashed. The mic is muted. I went to the bathroom. Is there anything this stream can't do? Really? Is there anything this stream can't do? Oh, wow. Zach took a -10 for Charles. Oh, I would have done the same, though, to be fair. If I could afford it. I can't. I am envious of the people that had Ferrari last week, put it that way. I'm just looking for late mail here, but I don't think there's much to advise on. Is Ewan posted his team yet? I don't think so. Is there another rider update? Is there? Okay. Nothing else. All right, let's go through some last minute questions. Then I'll lock my team in. Rob, help. Bortoletto and Lawson or Sainz and Coloractor crash out. Oh, I'd probably go the Sainz Colapinto. Oh, I think sorry, I saw your question come through. No, stop. Yeah, I'm probably going Sainz Colapinto, to be honest. Sainz over Hajar? No, more of a Hajar ally for the budget. I think points will be pretty even. Albon is consistent. Yeah, I rate Albon. If you can afford McLaren, Ferrari, Piastri, Leclerc, Colin, I'd definitely be using a wild card. Would you take a -10 to swap Stroll for Hajar? Probably not. I got enough budget for Kimi plus Piastri, McLaren, Ferrari. Is it good to pick Kimi? No, not very reliable right now. Aston Martin for Williams or Alonso for Albon? Probably Aston Martin for Williams. If you have Limitless, when would you use it? I'm planning on using it in the next couple races. Thoughts on Mercedes this week? Not for me. Don't forget your predictions. Great suggestion. -10 Bortoletto for Lawson? No, I wouldn't do that. Wouldn't do that. All right, make your predictions. Get those teams locked in, guys. I'm gonna lock mine in all of about 3 seconds. Maybe I'll lock in. Let's lock in first. Let's lock in first. Then I can do my predictions. Whew. So Ewan has gone double Williams. I'm envious of that. He's gone double Williams. Very jealous. Very, very jealous. And then... and Adam's gone... Did Adam take a hit? Do I take a hit? No, I'm not going to let people influence my decision. No, I'm not. Because essentially, yeah. But he had to have... Adam had to have taken a hit, right? I'm sorry, I'm just curious because he had Hulkenberg, Alonso, Aston Martin, Hulkenberg, Lawson. What? Hang on. Hulkenberg, Lawson, Aston Martin, and Norris? Oh no. What happened? Oh, dearie me. Again. Again. The whole thing just disappeared. Oh dear. Oh no, Robert. The screen just minimized out of nowhere. That's on me. So I'm... Adam took a -10, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he did. He took a -10. Yeah. No, I don't think so. Anyway, I'm just going to stick with this, I think. Stroll's like the glaring concern for me because... No, are they actually out? Sims are out. Good thing I didn't lock in. Maybe the Sims will convince me to take a wild card. No, I can't use the wild card. I swore to myself I wouldn't. Okay. Where they at? I got 13 minutes to lock in my team and I still haven't locked it in. Plot twist. What we got? I don't think this will change my decision too much. It might suggest a -10 though. No. Yeah, there you go. So it's pretty much landing me right on what I thought to do. So like if I went 213 at 2.2 and then what if I use the wild card? What does this suggest? 213 at 2.2 or 224 at 136, but I'm not going to put Sonoda in. Let's block him off. Oh, that would be an insane wildcard combination. No, I got to force include Oscar as well. So, yeah. That would be 4 transfers. That was my wildcard team. Exactly what I had for my wildcard team. So, I'm tempted, but I probably won't. Stroll, I'm not overly... As long as Stroll finishes the race, I just have such a concern about Lance Stroll because he's not going to be highly owned this week. A lot of people are going to get rid of him. I think the Sonoda estimate is skewed towards Max's pace. That's the only reason. That's my only thought there. So anyway, all right, I'm just gonna lock in. Look, again, I've been on this since the start of the stream. I'm not gonna pivot right away at the last minute because then if something goes wrong, I'm gonna regret it. If something goes wrong with this team, I'm gonna regret it. Well, I'm not gonna regret it. Like, I'm just gonna play the law of averages with budget and just hope these guys get through unscathed. That's all I'm hoping. They don't even need to go. They don't even need to go big. They just have to hit their thresholds. I'm not asking for much. I might even accept. The Sims are out. We've just looked at them. I might even accept just like no points from these guys, and pray a DNF falls my way for someone I don't own. So yeah, FP3 and Sims are out. I know. We've just looked at them. That's what FP3 Sims are up for. That's what we've been looking up. All right, I'm going to lock in. This is it. 2x boost, Lance Stroll. Who says no? Who says no? I do. All right, that's it. 2 transfers, boring. No scoring, so boring. Backing out the Aston Martin constructor. All right, we are on. I'm going to post that. Okay, let's just get the screenshot off so people who don't have a YouTube channel, who don't have a YouTube subscription, can see what I'm using for this week. It's probably going to be a generational stinker. I'm so sure of it. I'm just so sure this is going to be a bad week for me, but let's see. Okay, screenshot that and crop that and boom, we're done. Okay, tweet post. Okay, I think the tweet is off to the races. Not the Dutch GP, the Italian GP. Okay. Robert, can you spell Italian correctly, please? Okay, we're locked. We're in. Okay, we're in. Stroller Coaster was activated like 3 races ago. At this point, I'm just immune to the pain. Yeah, so 7 minutes in, get those teams locked, ladies and gents. 200 likes almost on the stream, so drop a like on your way out if you're about to dip. I'm gonna throw Quali up on the other on the TV. I'll have it on mute so you guys don't get a bit of background noise. But yeah, that's my team lock for the week. So it's gonna be a generational disaster. Like, I am so confident. Get to Sunday and there'll be like DNF galore across this team. I don't know why. I just have a gut feeling, and realistically, I know that's such a negative view to take. But I feel like I'm a step behind now, but hoping saving the wild card will put me 2 steps, 3 steps ahead in 2 or 3 races time. So, anyway. It's not too late for me to pull trigger on the wild card. Predictions! Yes, great call out. Oh, God. Golly gosh. Okay. F1 predict. Okay, why can't I have the quali going in the background? There you go. Excuse me. Nobody likes being coughed into the microphone. All right. I'll do some questions because we got 5 minutes and then I'll do my predictions. Okay, so Ewan's lineup's posted. He's going 2x William. Yeah, he had Ferrari last week. Exactly, Ali. Jeremy, I think I did answer. I am not overly sold on -10s for the Lawson Hajar. Bortoleto or Hajar. Hajar -10 to swap Lawson for Albon or Hajar. I don't think I like the -10 idea. Hey yo, just managed to catch the last 15 minutes, still recovering from last week's damage. I'm never going to financially recover from that. Leclerc, Mercedes, or Russell and Ferrari? Oscar asks. I'm going to go Russell Ferrari. Your final fix talk gave me an idea. Piastri, Alonso, Bortoleto, Lawson, Hajar, McLaren, Ferrari. Final fix Alonso to Leclerc after quali, or -10 Leclerc in. That's an idea. That's an idea, because you're saving a -10 and then you're probably getting Leclerc's points on top of that, which is probably more like 10 to 20 points more as well. So that's a creative way to use it, YS. Why Albon over Hajar? Because I think the Williams upside is higher, and unless Albon DNFs, they should both go up 0.6. I also think Williams will be more competitive than Racing Bulls at Baku next race. Hulk or Sainz? Albon over Gabi? Yes. Bortoleto or Hajar? Porsche did Hajar. Fair enough. Well, that's, I guess, something Raheem and I can debrief. For those of you, as I said earlier as well, if any of you live in New York, I will be watching it at Failer in Midtown, the race tomorrow. So drop by, say hi, if that's your kind of poison. If not, let me know if you're ever down and if you live in New York, you want to catch up, you want to Watch a race. I'm always down. Last few questions in the chat. Leclerc Colapinto or Russell Hajar? Probably Leclerc Colapinto. Predictions, we're doing that now. Norris and Sainz or Leclerc and Hamilton, Gareth asks. Norris Sainz. Whoa, Norris Sainz? Oh, I'd probably go Leclerc Hamilton, actually. Yeah, Leclerc Hamilton over Norris Sainz, definitely. Leclerc Colapinto or Russell Hajar? Leclerc Colapinto, Hajar or Alonso Hajar, Bortoletto or Hajar, Sainz or Hajar or Alonso Hajar. Is -10 worth to swap Lawson for Hajar? No. What about Piastri's car? Have I missed something? Is something about Piastri going on in the background? Someone help. I haven't even done my predictions. What's saying about Hajar, about Piastri? Piastri's car, is there something I need to be worried about? I don't see anything on Twitter about Piastri's car. Is someone baiting me in the chat? I mean, if worst comes to worst, I just final fix him out for Leclerc. But 3 minutes to go. I'm not seeing anything on Piastri's car. Is someone baiting me in the chat? On your way out, guys, drop a like on the stream. Subscribe to the channel. We just passed 9,300 earlier. Passed 200 likes. We're coming up to 4,500 views for the entire 2 hours. So that's great, despite the fact you saw the stream collapse at least 3 times. You saw me go to the bathroom and cough up 2 lungs. So let's quickly get into predictions with 3 minutes to go. I'm going to go a Lando race win and Oscar. I'm going to put Charles second. I'm going to put Oscar third. Save selection. I'm not going to put the 2X on that. Who will take pole position? I'm going to say Leclerc. Next, I'm going to put highest qualifier, Carlos Sainz. How many teams will get a car into Q3? I'm going to say 7. I'm going to say 7. Who will finish ahead in the race? Leclerc. Is that even a question? Who will set the fastest pit stop of the race? Probably Ferrari. Oh my god, this was a chaotic stream, I will say. Will there be a safety car? Probably. Did I not answer that? I didn't answer that. Yes. Into turn 1, almost certainly. Okay, is this going to let me enter the thing? I'm going to apply the 2X chip to that, because I really don't mind. Who will set the fastest lap time of the race? I'm going to put Piastri. And who will score more points? Ferrari. And we will see a new Italian Grand Prix winner. Yes, it's probably a McLaren driver. All right, they're submitted. Team is locked. Piastri 2X, Albon. 2 Aston Martin drivers I am not excited about whatsoever. Nothing about Piastri's car, so I don't think. Why not Mercedes over Ferrari? I've answered that. Thank you, Ali. You're an absolute legend. One of the OGs in the chat. So appreciate the love there. Would I go Hulkenberg to Hajar for -10? Probably not. But yeah, on your way out, guys, leave a like. I know you're filtering out towards qualifying. I can see it up on my TV. So Sky Sports website is reporting McLaren is still working on Piastri's car. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. Oh, can we have this news like at least 20 minutes before the deadline, not 2 minutes? Bloody hell. Anyway, that's it. So that's it, guys. Teams are locked. Drivers are making their way out of the garage. Oh no, it's fine. Like, don't worry about it. Like, Fantasy is just a game. I have learned over the last 3-4 years of playing this game, especially in the last 12 months, to not beat myself up about things if things do not go my way. If you are someone that does a little bit, because I think we all do at different times when we have a vested interest in something we feel so passionate about. I did a great video with my friend Ross, FPL Raptor, during the off-season break, so check that out. But in terms of other content, I guess we've got 2 more weeks after Monza between now and Baku, so take the time to disconnect for a little bit. Just enjoy the mini break between race weekends. It is just fun. Exactly. It is just fun. And I think we do it because we enjoy the community aspect of it for sure. So anyway, guys, I'll probably start to wrap things up now. Qualifying is underway. On your way out, please drop a like on the stream. Subscribe to the channel. We crossed 9,300 this stream. We crossed 10K on Twitter yesterday. So yeah, things are very excited. Things are very excited. I'm very excited. Things are exciting. And yeah, I'll be back with another round of content in the lead up to Azerbaijan. But for those of you that were here from the start, as I said, I think we had 3 stream disconnections, a bathroom break, a mic that muted itself, and hundreds of chat contributions. So you guys are unbelievable. It's been a great stream. So I'm going to leave it there for now, guys. Good luck with your teams this weekend, and also stay tuned for all of the exciting content in the lead up to Baku. But in the meantime, guys, drop a like on the way out. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Good luck with your teams, and I will see you all very, very soon.